whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today, but if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on do our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace. Hi, I'm attorney Gavin and Richard. Check out my latest book, The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in America. For approximately 2 years now, I have gone on a painstaking quest to investigate the rise and fall of an American icon, Bill Cosby. In the mid-1980s, there was not a star that was higher than Cosby. Advertisements with Coca-Cola, Jello, Kodak, along with the #1 television show for 5 straight years in a row. On Thursday nights, it was must-see TV on NBC. Cosby resurrected the genre of the traditional family sitcom that was once thought dead by television critics. He did this as a Black American with an all-Black cast and showed mainstream network executives in white America that it was possible to be successful without showing the worst in people. He also demonstrated the power that television had, as it can make younger people dream to be the best that they can be. However, like many celebrity stars, unfortunately, they all come crashing down, sometimes by their own fault, others not so much. In this book, I attempted to highlight certain things. We go in depth into both of his trials in 2017 and 2018, respectively. What if I told you that these criminal trials were politically motivated by an overzealous district attorney? Will you also be shocked to learn that attacks on Mr. Cosby did not start in 2014, but also in the 90s, not long after his attempted quest to purchase a major network? From where did all of these allegations of sexual misconduct come from? Were the accusers telling the truth? In the 2 years of research, with some help from others interested in learning the truth and facts about this case, we discussed both the legal reasons why his prosecution and trial were illegal, unwarranted, and also the possible may have occurred. Most importantly, we warn about the dangers of prejudice and why trial by social media, or mainstream media rather, should never be the norm. All this and more in The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in America. Available on Amazon this fall in Kindle and paperback format. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in the United States is coming soon, ladies and gentlemen, to an Amazon store near you. We ask that you please go to our Facebook page and hit that like button on Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr. That is coming soon, ladies and gentlemen. I've actually put the finishing editing touches on it, so I will actually have a link where on the Facebook page when it'll be available. That way you can pre-order that soon. So, without further ado, how's everyone doing tonight? I hope you are blessed and doing safe. It is another in New Orleans. Wherever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. We will be discussing the following: more fallout with the Russian-Ukraine war, Russia-Ukraine war, I should say. Ketanji Brown Jackson selected as Biden's Supreme Court nominee, and also we were going to be discussing uh, this article I have here. Uh, uh, will mainstream media indicates that the black community will abandon the Democratic Party. What say you all, ladies and gentlemen? All this and more today on Channel Debut to 786. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Also, I ask if you donate to the Cash App at Gavin Richard, Esquire, as well as Google Pay, PayPal, and Zelle. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, to pay some bills, we ask that you would go to naughty'screoleblends.com, order you some Creole seasoning, try it on chicken, meat, or fish. Naughty's goes great with every dish. Also, check out and download on the Apple Store Video Soul. And our theme song, as always, for this show, as well as all of our other shows, is Gotta Get On Up. So before we get on down, ladies and gentlemen, it is time that we get on up and get on out of here before we get on and boogie to what's really going on in America. So please, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let us enjoy Gotta Get On Up.
Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat, cause on the dance floor is where we'll be. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the. Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really grooving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause the beat is really grooving. Start to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the. Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on earth, wind, and fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop or do the body hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really grooving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, start to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the. Now 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you breathe and you're achieving. So if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat, on the dance floor is where we'll be. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, start to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up, baby. Yeah, gotta get on. Come on, baby, gotta get on. Baby, feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Welcome, everybody, to another edition on this beautiful Sunday of Gavin Richard Presents, and it is Random Topic Sundays. I hope everyone is doing safe and being blessed. I see Desmond is in. What's up? Judah Queen, MJS Girl, 85, S-Mont. I appreciate you listening to work, bro. I appreciate you listening to work. Merci. Love you all. Merci. What is up? This is carnival time, ladies and gentlemen. So if I seem a little lethargic, that's because I've been having me a few drinks, talking back like a mug before the Lenten season begins and enjoying this party season. But that also means I have been working my ass off too, because I have some deadlines and things to make, especially since February is wrapping up. Uh, I've made some promises, especially here to you all. I will do certain things, and I'm going to make sure that I do them by the time I say that. So please be on the lookout. I'm going to have a video and review drop real soon. That's going to be the next. I haven't done an actual full video on YouTube in a while, but I actually plan on doing that. Get my workout in a little bit later, so you see me with my workout clothes, because I'm about to go to the gym right after this. So I don't plan for this to be a very long live stream, but nevertheless, it's going to be a productive one. Let me ask anyone. I started watching the 5th episode of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Well, it's called Bel-Air. Has anyone started watching it? Now, the problem I have with reboots is that a reboot will always, even if it's done, if there are some changes that they make dramatically or drastically, they will always be compared to the original. It would be like what remaking, they can't remake The Godfather, although they're making a movie on how they made The Godfather, because they know if they touch The Godfather in any way, they would mess up basically a masterpiece. The Godfather is art in of itself. Same thing with Goodfellas. Same thing with The Wizard of Oz, although they've had adaptations to that we know it doesn't work. So could you remake The Godfather in 2022? Probably not. No. Hell no, I should say. I shouldn't be a probably. Hell no. The actors that they had are no longer alive, like Marlon Brando and a few other actors. John Caviezel, who played Fredo, who was brilliant. The Peter Clemenzas was played by Richard Constanza. The Richard Contes, who played the Bazzini. All of those people. You can't remake that. So I was a little pessimistic when I watched Bel-Air, and I liked the show. However, I think the acting is great. I love what they've done with the Hillary character, where she's not an airhead in in the original Fresh Prince. Carlton is an asshole in this one. We thought Carlton was just an uptight jerk in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but he's a complete asshole here. Judah Queen says she had no idea about the reboot of Fresh Prince. Well, it came from a movie, idea someone did of, I guess, remaking the Fresh Prince as a drama. And when it went viral, it caught the attention of Will Smith, who is no longer just an incoming actor. He is a full-blown international superstar who has his own production company. So he liked it, and he decided to reboot the show with NBC involved. Obviously, it's on Peacock and a few others. Now I've watched it, and the acting in it is great, as I said. I like the some of the characters, like Uncle Phil. I like the Aunt Viv because she embodies even Janet Hubert in the first Aunt Viv. But I hope that, but of course, ladies and gentlemen, there is an agenda that they always got to throw in. And so as I'm looking at it now, if you've seen this, I don't want to give spoilers away, so you got about 5, 10 seconds before I do that. This is Ashley. Now, I haven't even seen, I started watching it, but I knew from the direction that it was going in episode 4, and now they don't hide it. They're flat out. Guess what they have made Ashley? Now, she wasn't really saying much in the first couple of episodes, but now at 12 years old, and I watched this yesterday, Ashley is talking to this white friend of Hillary's in the show on in episode 5, who they say specializes in sex positivity. And she asks her whether they think the future of sexuality will be more fluid. Now, Ashley is 12 years old, and already, and they hinted at it last week, she has a crush on her classmate, Lucia. And at 12 years old, Ashley is saying she's gay, or she doesn't know what gender she wants to be. Non-binary, yeah, gender fluid. Now, if you remember the original Ashley, and they even talk about it in this article. This is from uh, Screen Rant. They always do articles on this. Ashley, back in the 90s, she was, especially Tatiana Ali, she was actually boy crazy. And part of the humor of the Fresh Prince, especially in those later seasons, uh, Will was overprotective of Ashley. I remember, I think it was a season 5 episode when Ashley was about to lose her virginity, and Will and Carlton overheard her on the intercom talking about losing her virginity to her then boyfriend, played by Jaleel White. And I remember Will and Carlton freaking out when they overheard her talking about this on the intercom. And it was funny. Same thing when Will caught Ashley at a party in college. And Uncle Phil being overprotective of his little girl. But here they have a full on 12-year-old who is coming out as a homosexual, or I guess undecided, you could say, because she's 12 and she has these feelings. And even in the show, Hillary embraces her. It's the same thing with Power. It's the same thing with, I think they had it in Blackish. They had it in How to Get Away with Murder. They have had it in a bunch of shows. Even the new Power sequel with Tommy. Tommy's brother, who is black, his half brother, is also gay. I understand what they were talking about, having representation and so forth. But I am getting so tired of seeing this agenda pushed down our throats, ladies and gentlemen. I don't care who gets mad with me for saying it. This is an agenda, flat out. They don't hide it and they don't ease it in. Like when you look at the love stories, even on Power, with and Tariq Nasheed broke this down, you saw obviously it had been building for a while when Tariq and Diana, although she didn't become his girlfriend, were eventually going to hook up because Diana had a crush on Tariq and they were always getting in close with each other. She would come to his apartment, she would go to his birthday parties and so forth. Same thing with Lauren and all the other characters, Effie. He had a repertoire built up. They didn't just throw the shit at you. They are throwing it at you full blown. I'm tempted not to even continue watching this crap. I would rather save money than stream stuff on Peacock. What does this have to do with the show? That's something I thought. I mean, she's 12. I can see shows with adults and so forth, but I mean, gosh, they made, even when you look at the Black Lightning TV show that got canceled, thank God, they never even showed the lead character, Black Lightning, having any type of sex with his wife. And they have two daughters. The oldest daughter, who's gorgeous. I mean, both girls were gorgeous. She's a lesbian, and anytime she was with a woman, they full out showed them engaging in sexual behavior, flat out, in the hotel rooms, getting their freak on. So we got to be mindful and look out with stuff like this, guys, because I mean, I've said before, it's no secret what they're doing. And then you had, shout out to my boy Harvey. Essence Magazine had this on their first cover of the magazine. Did y'all see Niecy Nash bumping titties with her husband? Y'all saw this? That's Niecy Nash. And her husband or wife, Jessica Betts. And they're praising it because they're the first lesbian couple on the cover of Essence Magazine. Now, well, actually last year, I believe Billy Porter was on the cover of Essence. And he was hailed because he was the first gay man on that cover, if I'm not mistaken, wearing a dress. Now, what you got to remember, Essence, just like Ebony, they have actually lost a lot of customers in the last few years because number one, everything is switching from print to digital. That's the age that we are in. You also have to remember they have changed managers. They don't have the same owners, the same people that took care and pride in uplifting and caring for the Black community and getting these businesses off the ground. And I'll never forget, of course, when your Ebony magazine, and I'm going to do this in the review that I'm going to point out that I had told you all about a certain docu series or mocu series that came out. Ebony magazine has lost money, especially when they put that cover of, well, even before that, but when they put that cover of the Cosby Family, the Cosby Show, on there with a shattered mirror, as if to say Bill Cosby, Heath versus Cliff. And let's not forget, Bill Cosby, I believe, was very close with the founder of Essence Magazine at that time and actually donated or put monies into building that very magazine that treated him like garbage. Susan Taylor was the founder, along with Edward Lewis. That was who it was. So Ed Lewis was uh, the co-founder of Essence, and Bill Cosby actually, from my understanding, he gave them monies for all of this. Now they got the Essence Music Festival that comes out. I I have not gone to the pandemic. I'm sorry, I haven't gone since 2016 to the Essence Fest. Now, most people go because of the seminars. Most people go there because you meet different people, and which is true. You can actually uh, performers that go there. I mean, I went in 2014 to see Prince. I have no regrets about doing that, and especially since Prince is no longer here among the living. I'm grateful I got the opportunity to see him that day. So I'm grateful for that. But I mean, that was a star-studded event. So I enjoyed that. In 2016, I enjoyed going there too. But I'm so tired of seeing these agendas, ladies and gentlemen. It's Niecy's Nash's life partner. No, they're married. Well, Niecy Nash had a husband. She was married. She has kids. And I remember when Niecy said a blowjob a day will make your husband stay. Well, he flat out divorced her. Now she wasn't on those magazine covers with her husband out here like that. And I think it's exactly to what Harvey Superboy was pointing out. She's actually on these covers to push an agenda. That's what they do. That's not hate. That's just the fact. They do this. So bumping titties. Now, let's talk about our first topic, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going from titties to the robes. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, as many of you know, Ketanji Brown Jackson has been recently nominated as the next Supreme Court justice to take Stephen Breyer's place. Now, a lot of people, of course, are excited because she will be the first, if appointed, she will be the first Black woman to sit onto the Supreme Court. Some things you should know about Ketanji Brown Jackson. She's 51 years old. She is born and raised in Washington, D.C. And she's married. I've actually talked about her before and showed you she's married to a surgeon named Patrick G. Jackson, who happens to be white. Now, some other information that a lot of people don't know about your Ketanji Brown Jackson, I will share in a minute, but I want to play this video on YouTube here. This is, I believe, the day of her appointment that it was announced. So let me just show you right quickly what the Wall Street Journal has to say about Ms. Jackson.
President Biden has nominated Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson to the Supreme Court, the first Black woman nominated to be a justice on the nation's highest court. If confirmed, she would replace Justice Stephen Breyer, a liberal member of the court who announced his retirement in January. Judge Jackson served as a law clerk to Justice Breyer earlier in her career.
I've been a federal judge for 8 years, and I have a duty of independence. I clerked for 3 federal judges before I became a judge, and they were models of judicial independence. And what that has meant is that I know very well what my obligations are, what my duties are, not to rule with partisan advantage in mind.
What makes her a strong nominee in part is that professional diversity. This sort of allows Biden to fulfill a promise that he's made to diversify the court, not just by putting people in the court who might have a different demographic background, who might look different, but people who might also just bring a different kind of experience. Another thing that makes her a strong nominee is that she was just recently confirmed to the DC Circuit. And so it means that she's gone through the Senate confirmation process.
The president made his decision after meeting with the candidates, studying their histories and case records, and consulting legal experts, the White House said.
Although we have a pretty closely divided Senate, we think she still probably has a pretty smooth path to confirmation. Vice President Harris casts the deciding vote and gives Democrats the majority.
Mr. Biden's nomination won't change the balance of power on a conservative high court that has 6 justices appointed by Republican presidents, including 3 by former President Donald Trump. Judge Jackson currently serves on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit, one of the nation's most influential courts and often a stepping stone for Supreme Court justices. She joined the court last June after spending 8 years as a federal trial judge in the nation's capital.
So President Biden has promised to diversify the federal judiciary in terms of both demographic background and professional diversity. And Judge Jackson ticks both of those boxes. She'll be the first Black woman on the court, and she also brings a background as a criminal defender, which we have not seen in many, many years.
I would say that my different professional background than many of the Court of Appeals judges, including my district court background, which will be different if I'm confirmed than many of my colleagues, would bring value. It's sort of like the Oliver Wendell Holmes quote that the life of the law is not logic, it's experience. And so I've experienced life in perhaps a different way than some of my colleagues because of who I am. And that might be valuable. I hope it would be valuable if I was confirmed to the court.
Republicans have tried to pin her down on this question of the quote unquote living constitution, the idea that constitutional interpretation should adapt to social change, should evolve over time. She had said in 2013 at a confirmation hearing to the district court that she disagreed with that. But more recently at her appeals court confirmation hearing, she really just declined to talk about it and deferred to the Supreme Court.
The Constitution is an enduring document. The Supreme Court has said a fixed meaning, that we're to look to the original words in the Constitution and interpret, as lower court judges would interpret provisions the way in which the Supreme Court does, and they look at the text and meaning.
Judge Jackson has not said very much. Kind of a presence on the court, as is common with lower court judges. We don't know very much about her judicial philosophy. And when she was asked about it at a recent confirmation hearing, she really declined to talk very much about it and deferred to the Supreme Court.
I think that I would like to be remembered as a judge who was both
All right. What's up, Silent D Productions, Judah Queen? No, she didn't. She didn't answer it. I noticed that. And I'm glad you brought something up about Harvard. Now, let me just say this, because everybody's excited about Ketanji B. Jackson being the first Black woman on the Supreme Court. I've had and seen people actually not only excited about that, but her name is Ketanji. Her middle name is Brown, and her head, she wear dreadlocks. Her locks are fleek. That's all these Negroes care about. I'm looking at her record. Now, something she has in common with most Supreme Court justices. What do y'all think that is? What does Ketanji Brown Jackson have with majority of the Supreme Court already? And this is why she's likely going to get in. Well, I'll show you. It's not Howard University School of Law. No. It is this. This is a list of law schools attended by United States Supreme Court justices. Harvard University has over 21 alumni, 17 graduates that all have gone or have all sat on the steps of on the Supreme Court bench. 21. Yale, 11. Columbia, 7. Samuel Alito, Brett Kavanaugh, Sonia Sotomayor, and Clarence Thomas. None of these justices I've noticed have never gone to, with the exception of Thurgood Marshall. No justice has ever come from a historically Black college and university. Thurgood Marshall is the only one. What's going on, DeAndre? Now, some other stuff I learned about Ketanji Brown Jackson. A lot of people may not know this, but her uncle Now, this is where it helps to have friends in high places. Her uncle was doing a a life sentence for a nonviolent cocaine conviction. And when she persuaded a law firm to take his case pro bono, Barack Obama got involved. He was the president and gave him a presidential pardon. She also has an uncle named Calvin Ross, who is a Miami police chief. Now, her husband, I told you about Patrick Johnson. I've looked at this before. He is actually a surgeon. Ask for you, Siri. She's descended from Jonathan Jackson, who is a delegate from in the Continental Congress, and is related to former Associate Justice of the Supreme Court, Oliver Wendell Holmes. So she's related to him. Now, you all may not know this, but there have also been Supreme Court justices who actually have not, and she sat on the bench of the U.S. District Court Court of Columbia. But back in the day, before there was a bar exam, you didn't actually need to have a law degree to practice law. This man, Stanley Foreman Reed, was an attorney who didn't even have a law degree. He didn't graduate from a school of law. No law degree, nothing. He was a World War I veteran. Didn't graduate law school. He just started practicing. He was a politician. Now, I mention all of this because I've been seeing we need a black woman on the Supreme Court. We need this, we need that. Let me start with the pros. I understand why, especially based on years of racism and yes, sexism as well, why many of our black queens will be applauding the fact that someone that looks like them is sitting on the Supreme Court. And we do it all the time, even amongst ourselves. Whenever we want to see a black family be successful or a black man be successful, we throw our entire support on them. We did this with the Obama administration. When Barack Obama got elected, count this, 97% of the black vote went to Barack Obama. 93% went to him again in 2012. Yet you look at all of that, and here was a lesson that was learned that we didn't learn, still haven't learned, although I think there are some of us who are waking up, is that Barack Obama did very little for the black community during that time in those 8 years. If you had to think about groups that he had helped between LGBTQ, immigrants, and black people, which group of people did he help more? Who got more out of his presidency? Who got more out of the Obama presidency? Black people or gay people? Illegal immigrants or black people? Well, if you had to look at the stats, it was the other groups versus black people. They got more out of the presidency. LGBTQ got more out of his presidency. In fact, when he was hailed by Time magazine as the first they hailed him as the first gay president. And that would be insulting to me because as a husband, I'm still married to my wife. I have daughters. I have children. Why would you put something like that on Time? But he didn't say anything against it. You look at this Biden administration, the number one priority in his office, he said this publicly before he even got in, was to take care of LGBTQ. And when I look at Miss Mrs. Jackson's record, or Justice Jackson's record. I'll call her a judge because she does serve as a justice on the Court of Appeal District Court. She's not an associate justice yet. But you look at some of her rulings and decisions that she has made as a judge. Most of everything that she has done has been pro-Democrat. And that's really what this is about. Democrats, of course, the president is always going to find anybody that, number one, identifies with his party politics, and number two, is very, if you identify with party politics, then you got to rule on them. She is tied just as much as, the Brett Kavanaughs and the Amy Coney Barrettts that are out here that are tied to the Republican Party. Democrats do the same thing as well. So it's the same thing over and over again. Nothing's changed. That's what they do. So, in closing, what I'm just going to say is this: you can be excited that she's the first black female justice sitting on the Supreme Court. Although I think we needed another man to offset Clarence Thomas because he's been an embarrassment. But if you're going to put in a Ketanji Brown Jackson, who essentially she's voted against, let's be real. I'm looking at the record. She voted against back in 2019 having Donald Trump having any immunity in regards to this in regards to this investigation of his impeachment. So that's one of her biggest cases that she had. She hasn't done anything on abortion, but I can guarantee you she's for it. She did the same thing with Trump's back in 2019. She issued a PI, which is a preliminary injunction, blocking the changes that Trump administration planned to expand the category of undocumented immigrants eligible for fast-track deportations. She reversed all of that. So it's clear where she stands on certain issues. That's why she's been picked. This is Donald Trump's first White House counsel, Don McGahn. Now, something they ignore, they don't talk about the fact that, and we're going to move on to our next subject, but they do not talk about the fact that Ms. Jackson, if you've noticed something, and this is just in general, how they are going at Trump with regards to they're still talking about what happened with the insurrection and what's going on in Russia. Judge Joe Brown even mentioned this, is that they are leaving the door open, especially now with what's going on with happening in Ukraine, as well as with Joe Biden with his crack pipes and stuff. And I've seen that video and shared it. They can open themselves up when the elections come in November and December, when the House switches from Democrat to Republican. They can open themselves up to an impeachment. That's why it was very dangerous to do this with Trump, because they have now set a precedent for the opposing parties to come forward and say, well, you did it with us, now it's my turn to do it with you. So the moral to the story is be careful what you wish for, ladies and gentlemen, you just might get it. So with that said, I guess we could speak with this, is that mainstream media indicates that the black community will not turn out to vote for the Democrats. The Wall Street Journal actually had this article up and said, as black voters sour on Biden, will they abandon the Democrats? So I'm going to play the article.
As black voters sour on Biden, will they abandon the Democrats? Their decades-long loyalty to the party was already beginning to show signs of becoming weaker. By Jason L. Riley. February 15th, 2022, 7:07 p.m. Eastern Time. Why Joe Biden is Bleeding Black Support was the headline of a New York Magazine article in late January. Not whether, but why. And if the polling since then is indicative, the hemorrhaging continues. Blacks have been throwing some 80% of their support to Democrats since the late 1960s. Since President Obama left office, however, the party's grip on this key voting bloc has loosened somewhat. Hillary Clinton's underperformance among blacks in such swing states as Pennsylvania probably cost her the presidency in 2016, when people in heavily black neighborhoods voted more Republican than they did in 2012. Democrats normally don't worry about blacks voting Republican. They just worry about blacks not voting at all. That too may be changing. Black voter turnout in 2018 was the highest on record for a midterm election. Yet New York Magazine reports that in the House races that year, Democrats actually won a smaller share of the African American vote than they had in the 2016 presidential election, even as the party's overall popular vote edge in the midterm was 5 points higher than Hillary Clinton's 2 years earlier. Joe Biden won 92% of black voters in 2020, no doubt benefiting from having been Mr. Obama's vice president, but it's been all downhill since then. The president's job of approval rating among all voters has fallen, but among blacks it has been cratering. An NBC News poll last month found that black support for the president, which stood at 83% last April, had dropped to 64%. A Quinnipiac survey released around the same time showed a 22-point decline in black support for Mr. Biden during his first year in office. And a CNN poll from last week puts black approval of the president's job performance at just 69%. Democrats know they can't win elections without much higher levels of black support. Mr. Biden has been doing what Democrats normally do to buck up black support. He's resorting to identity politics. He's promised to nominate a black woman to the Supreme Court. He supports legislation that would address imaginary voter suppression. He wants to expand the welfare state. If, as the recent polling suggests, this sort of racial pandering no longer works like it used to, America's making some progress. To hear the full story, subscribe or sign in.
Now, that was an article written by Jason Riley, who's an opinion columnist for Upward Mobility in the Wall Street Journal. He's been doing this with the Wall Street Journal since 2016. He's actually a Bradley Prize recipient. He's written 4 books: False Black Power, Maverick, a biography of Thomas Sowell, Please Stop Helping Us, How Liberals Make It Harder for Blacks to Succeed, and Let Them In the Case for Open Borders. It seems like this Mr. Riley is Thomas Sowell Jr., which is not a good sign. However, I do agree with him on some things that he has stated in his article, which is that black people are tired of the pandering that the Democratic Party has been pushing and promoting. Judah, you said ScrewTube is messing up. What's going on? What exactly are they doing? Everything, ladies and gentlemen, when you look at every other ethnic group that has made advancements in this country, it involves money. Money makes the world go around. We know we say it was love, but in reality, it's money that moves things. If you have money, let's just be real. If you have money, money can buy you a house. Money can buy you a car. If you're working, yes, you may have what you're using a mortgage or a car note. It basically means you don't have the money yet, but you will have the money to pay this off eventually if you pay it off in these installments and you pay the interest rate. But if you had money in full to pay it, well, you didn't have to worry about that. You don't have to do a mortgage note. You don't have to do a car note. If you had $1 million right now, you could go to whatever school you wanted. You could send your children to whatever school you wanted to go to. And that's the reality. So things work when money comes in. And if there's no money, you know, if your job wasn't paying you, you all wouldn't show up to work. So it's interesting the Wall Street Journal posts this, but aside from the Wall Street Journal, it's also some other mainstream media outlets that have said that the blacks will be abandoning the Democratic Party, especially this year. Now, this article we see here, this is from December of last year. The Party of Karens, the new Democratic Party, alienates non-white voters. Now, this is The Hill. Now, of course, this is a conservative news site, but after Barack Obama's 2008 White House victory, Democrats believed they had an unbreakable coalition of the ascendant voters driven by increasing participation of minority groups and college-educated women. But recent left-wing economic and policy woes have brought about a demographic realignment that threatens to sink the Democrats' chances, not just for 2022, but for the next several decades. So it says here, I'm reading it in part, that recent polling suggests that Hispanic and Black voters are abandoning the party. Many of them are individuals who are being harmed by surging inflation, anti-business COVID measures, and exploding crime rates in urban areas brought about by a year of left-wing measures. For more than a decade, Democrats worked to build a voting base composed of minorities and unmarried women. After Donald Trump's 2020 loss, it would appear the mission was being accomplished. White voters dropped from 81% of the electorate in 2000 to just 67. Meanwhile, Biden carried a whopping 63% of single women. However, public policy over the past years is already casting the idea of continuing Democratic majority in doubt. Recent polling suggests that Blacks and Hispanic Americans are more likely to vote as individuals than as aggrieved racial blocs. Now, notice they talk about the Hispanic community mostly. They said non-white voters, but remember, Hispanics actually vote largely are very conservative base, and I can remember even when Donald Trump got elected, with all the stuff he was saying about closing the borders and building a wall in Mexico. Remember, he still received a large percentage of the Hispanic vote, especially in Florida. There was no question that your Donald Trump was going to win Florida in 2020. He won that by overwhelming majority support by at least 60% or better. And that was the Cuban, especially in Miami-Dade County, the Cuban refugee, refugees, the people that have come over there that want to start a new life in America, they vote conservative. They are conservative. They are not liberal. And it goes to show you what's going on here in your United States of America, and in part, and that's something that's going to happen eventually. I'll get into that subject in a minute about the Ukraine and what's going on. You see why the Democrats now have been so desperate in bringing in illegal immigrants in this country, because they know, number one, America will no longer be a predominantly white society, and most of the immigrants who are coming over from Europe or from Europe or from South America or Asia, they identify with the current dominant society, i.e., white supremacy. It's like the Asians who identify with being white. You have, when you look at the census, you have Hispanic people. They actually are Hispanic if you're Latino or not Hispanic or not Hispanic or Latino, and they have those questions there. Well, remember, the Hispanics will mark Hispanic, but on the race element, they'll say, are you white Hispanic or black Hispanic? Well, they'll mark white. They mark white. So, in tying all of this in, yes, this has become the party of the Karens. I think more black people are frustrated, and of course, tying it in with Ketanji Jackson being nominated. I saw Roly Poly live streaming. Yeah, we're gonna have a black woman on the Supreme Court. I want to tackle Supreme. That's the type of Supreme he wants. So, what say you guys? I mean, should black people leave the Democratic Party? Should we join the Republicans or just strictly be independent? See, I agree with that voting as an individual, but for us, we have to vote what is in our best interest, and we always have to ask that question. We can't afford to just vote because this person is black or this person looks good. He's got my he wearing my same tie. He's got the same. We go shop at the same clothing store, or I like him and his family. He has a beautiful family. He has this. That's great. Can you balance the budget? That's the question. That's the question. All right, our final topic. I won't be on here long, guys. Y'all see I'm yawning. There's more fallout over the Russia-Ukraine war. Now, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? For those that don't understand, of course, we talked about it on Thursday. There was a treaty, of course, back in the 90s that Russia would leave the Ukraine and Ukraine would have its own independence. And run itself, however, what the Russians are saying is that, well, we never made any promise that we would not invade Ukraine again. And of course, when Ukraine became an independent nation, they were actually that marked the end of the Soviet Union. Remember, all of that land, that territory in Russia, Ukraine, I believe Czechoslovakia. I could be wrong. I'm trying to brush up on my civics, but all of that area was part of that. So the USSR that spanned Eurasia during its existence from 1922 to 1991. So yeah, the Cold War, that's when it ended. And so the United States obviously is not happy with the direction that this country is going in, with Putin now invading Ukraine and the threats being made. So the United States, I'm just looking at this, but I want you to listen to what some immigrants from Russia had to say about the Ukraine. This is coming from CBS in Miami.
Immigrants from Russia and Ukraine are keeping a close eye on the escalating crisis overseas. CBS 4's Deborah Zubrain continues our team coverage live from Sunny Isles Beach with their reaction. Deborah, good morning.
Maribel, good morning. You know, what struck me the most was just how reluctant people were to even discuss this issue. And with President Biden referring to Russia's actions as an invasion, the few people who did speak to us were nervous.
Right now I'm scared.
No comments. I don't want to talk about this.
They're afraid to say anything.
Outside Kalinka's deli, Zinnia, a St. Petersburg Russian native, tells us his fellow countrymen are fearful of speaking out, even from the seemingly safe confines of Sunny Isles, for fear of what could happen if they ever return home. Zinnia's the exception.
Yeah, I am concerned. You know, it's heading into a all-out conflict.
President Biden's concern now apparent too, referring to Russia's military escalation as, quote, an invasion, while slapping more sanctions against Russia, including its financial institutions and the very wealthy.
The oligarchs, who are the rich people, and the Siloviki, which are former security force people, so that would be former military, former intelligence, stuff like that. And between those two, they run everything on behalf of Vladimir Putin.
Another professor, Dr. David Kilroy, Nova Southeastern University's chair of humanities and politics, outlines why the Russia-Ukraine conflict is of concern to me and you, half a world away.
If Russia gets its way, it really will be, a very chilling consequence for, democratic elected regimes. Part of the sanction strategy, which the United States and the Western European countries are pursuing, is aimed at individuals.
And eventually, it could even squeeze some wealthy Russians' wallets right here in South Florida.
You know, there's a lot of wealthy Russians that come here, so there'll be sanctions, with on them bringing money into this country or using bank like credit cards and stuff.
Now, Zinnia, who you just heard from, has lived in America for nearly 50 years. But after speaking to us on camera and sharing his opinions on social media, he says he has no plans of returning home. We're live in Sunny Isles. I'm Deborah Subarain, CBS 4 This Morning.
All right. So I got another video here. Okay, let me back up. This is from Boston.
Tonight, some Russians living here in Massachusetts
Put the copyright disclaimer
are
up
voicing
for
their
me, please.
opposition to Vladimir Putin's decision to invade Ukraine. WBZ's Brandon Truitt spoke with one woman whose family members are in Ukraine and are now in hiding.
No good, no good.
The news over Russia's invasion into Ukraine setting in for those who used to live there.
I don't like him. He is too demanding, but he is clever.
And Russia's attack on its neighbor
You can't deny that he is so clever.
The disdain for Russian President Vladimir Putin front and center for everyone we spoke with.
I heard the bombing sounds and I texted him, said, "Are you awake?"
Larissa Brodsky tells us her son, his wife, and their children are all in Ukraine, currently stuck in the city of Kharkiv, just an hour's drive from the Russian border. She spoke with her son Wednesday night.
They're hiding. I was happy they were able to go because maybe they were supposed to be stopped everywhere.
Brodsky moved to the United States from Russia in 1989. Her son moved to Ukraine in 2012 and has lived there ever since. Brodsky blames what she calls propaganda from Putin as a way of justifying this invasion for many Russians, calling out what she claims are broadcasted lies in the country.
It's many years generation of propaganda. I'm talking about people who really trust and support this horrible leader. Putin,
Brodsky says she has had trouble reaching her son Thursday. She's hopeful they will be able to get out soon, realizing there are millions in the same position.
There are no justification for this war. That's why it's painful. This is one person calling something bad and make other people think it is.
Some of the people we spoke with today say their best case scenario is if Russia were to stop where they are, but many fear decades worth of economic hardship for Ukrainians or a total siege of the country. In Brookline, Brandon Truitt, WBZ News.
All right. So listen to this. Now, this next video I got right here, y'all got to see this. So already, with the war looming in, going on in Ukraine with Russia, now this is coming out. Now, this is what I was talking about with the census. Keep that in mind. How black immigrants or influx of immigrants are coming into the United States.
United protests across the world, even in Moscow. Here in the U.S., there are more than 1 million people with ties to Ukraine, and some of them expressed their anger over the invasion. Here's CBS's Scott McFarlane.
Outside the White House tonight, Ukrainian Americans rallied for stiffer U.S. sanctions and military support.
Stand with Ukraine.
One of a growing number of protests across America.
No to Putin.
Plus London and Berlin, and more than 900 arrested protesting the war in Moscow. Some of the calls for protests coming from a bunker in Ukraine.
Please protest against what Putin is doing. Please stop this war.
Murder was spray painted outside the Russian embassy in Washington, leading to an arrest.
We're hopeful. We're praying that everybody is safe.
A sleepless night for Michael Sawkill, who couldn't reach close friends and family west of Kyiv by phone.
Is it extra challenging not being able to reach somebody you know there?
It's challenging. It's challenging, obviously, for two reasons. It's challenging because you don't know whether the network is down, or obviously you don't know if anything has happened to said person.
Chants of stand with Ukraine and stop Putin from this crowd of hundreds in the rain here tonight. Another larger demonstration planned here Sunday afternoon. Nora?
Scott McFarlane outside the White House. Thank you.
Hey guys, this is Joe, founder of Fiore, and I want to tell you about one of my...
Bye, Joe. So they're considering, the Biden administration is considering protecting certain Ukrainians living in the United States from deportation due to Russia's military attack against the Ukraine. The deportation relief could be authorized through a temporary protected status designation by Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, or a deferred enforced departure order by President Biden, the sources said, requesting anonymity to discuss ongoing discussions. Now, under the law, the DHS secretary can offer protected status to immigrants in the United States if it is determined that their home countries are unable to safely accept deportees because of armed conflict, natural disasters, and an epidemic or other extraordinary emergencies. DED, a similar policy, also offers temporary deportation protections to immigrants from a specific country or region, but unlike a TPS, it has to be authorized by the president. Now, you have an estimated 355,000 Ukrainian immigrants residing in the United States. And according to government estimates, the Migration Policy Institute estimated Thursday that roughly 30,000 Ukrainians could be eligible for TPS or DED. Now, here's what my position on it is, ladies and gentlemen. Be mindful and be warned that within the next month or two, do not be surprised if we see more immigrants coming to the United States under this Biden administration. Remember, the Biden administration has given carte blanche to various immigrants coming from this country, from other countries like South America who just came in with open borders. You have people, of course, the Asian community under the Biden administration. They have given grants and other deeds, businesses, and deeds and opportunities for them to come over to this country, which is why part of the reason Kamala Harris was picked as vice president, being that her mother was Indian. So they're coming here. And what will eventually happen, especially tying it into what I said about the census, is that more and more you're going to see these immigrants come in and they're actually going to get more benefits than African Americans. Hell, they already have it. Black Americans, I should say. Foundational Black Americans. The Hold Your Own Nuts crowd have been talking about this. They need to hold their own nuts. Oh, well. Let me say this. I do not, of course, I feel bad when anybody is killed, when anybody is murdered, situations like that. But war is hell. And we have people in our country today who are dying in the streets, especially over this war on drugs. There's no war on homelessness, by the way, because there's no money to be made in that. We have homeless people living out on the streets. We have a bunch of people we could take care of here, our backyard. Should we get involved because everybody is sobbing and crying over something that's happening thousands of miles away from the mainland? If it's our allies, sure, we get involved in stuff like that. But this is not a priority for me, in my mind, because the same country that wants to go help the Ukrainians and wants to obviously take in more immigrants illegally, people who don't even have a right to be in this country, but they can bypass certain things. The Biden administration is allowing it. We have veterans who are homeless. Yes, absolutely, Derek. We have veterans who have mental health issues that we don't take care of. Their insurance doesn't cover. They're broke. And we're supposed to stand by and idly accept this? You want to help other people? No, I get frustrated with this. There are bigger issues. Fish we can fry. So don't be surprised already when the refugee crisis begins and the Biden administration gets caught or gets told they're going to start bringing more immigrants in, because that's what's going to happen. And our reparations, the things that we ask for, again, will be placed on a back burner as it always has. And we're going to have some Democratic shill. I don't know if it's Jim Clyburn or Roly Poly Martin or Maxine Waters, anybody who, by the way, in their districts, they have some of the poorest populations. They have a whole homeless crisis going on in Los Angeles. It's everywhere, but I'm just telling you about the ones I know. Her district is one of the worst. And I ain't heard her say a damn thing about cleaning it up. So y'all keep that in mind when they want to bring other people over here and give them jobs and benefits and leave black people out to dry. I'm tired of it. Anyway, guys, I'm going to get on out of here because I'm going to get my workout in and I'm getting tired. Anyway, you all hit that like, share, subscribe button. Subscribe to our Facebook page at Commonwealth Cos, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., Destruction of Due Process in the United States. Also, if you'd like to advertise with our channel, go to gavin.jewish1@gmail.com for rates, as well as the Patreon. Check out our seasoning company, Nawnee'sCreoleBlends.com. Try it on chicken, meat, or fish. Nawnee's goes great with every dish, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just show you right quick where you can go to order you some seasoning. If you come here and go to Nawnee'sCreoleBlends.com, we're actually we've been trying to get it in stores. We've applied for our application out in Texas right now, so that's good news. But you hit that shopping icon and go to continue shopping, and you can order some seasoning blends that we have available, ladies and gentlemen. Just click that icon right there with the shopping cart to order you some. So that's all I have to say on that. But also check out our single Video Soul, which is available on Apple and iTunes. I prefer if you download it. And since it's carnival time, I want y'all to also get on up, because it is now time, ladies and gentlemen, to get on and get on up. I will probably be back with a new video that's going to be dropping between now and tomorrow, so y'all be on the lookout for that. And it's a doozy. And also, I need you all to please donate to the Cash App, the PayPal, since this channel is not monetized. If you want to help, that's another way to support. Cash App, Google Pay, PayPal, or Zelle. I'd greatly appreciate it. But anyway, guys, that's it. I love you all. You all be safe and be blessed. So now that we have gotten on down, it is now time to get on up. You enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening, guys. I'll holla. Peace. Shout out to Bossa Queenie. Thank you, Silent Productions. Thank you, Judah Queen. I can't thank you guys enough. If I haven't mentioned anybody, it's my head, not my heart. But everybody, Derek Bailey, Lucius Gainus, MJ Girl 85. I appreciate it. A bunch of you all. Christopher Jury. I don't know what the hell you're saying, but okay. But yeah, you're exactly right, Silent B. So thank you all, DeAndre, that you all enjoyed the broadcast. So let's get on up. It's time for me to get a copyright strike for my own song.
Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat, cause on the dance floor is where we'll be. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, start to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on earth, wind, and fire. Girl, ooh, cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, start to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Now 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you breathe and you achieve. And so, if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll be. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, start to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Yeah, gotta get on up. Come on, baby, you gotta get on up, baby. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.